So let's start working from the same seated guard, but now let's have a grip. So my training partner's in front of me. Now what I'm gonna start to do is I'm gonna start making a cross grip on his sleeve, and I hold it really strong. From here I start crossing across his body and grabbing this fabric right here where the seam meets the armpit, okay? This grip is extremely hard to break. One, he can't see this grip, and two, the way it connects to the lat, as he moves away from me and he tries to break this grip and move away, it's extremely difficult, okay? Now from here, the same side I have this grip, I'm gonna place on his hip, and now the other foot's gonna go on his shoulder. As I'm doing this, I'm sitting down, gonna start climbing my hips up, extending, shooting, and as I shoot, I'm passing his hand to my pocket. And now from here, I can lock momentarily, but in order for me to get a good lock on this triangle, I wanna cover his shoulder with my knee. Okay, so now what I'm gonna do here is a corkscrew motion as I start to lift my hips and lock my triangle nice and tight. So from here, the goal is to just make sure his shoulder is covered. Now from here, if I need to adjust, I can lock, but the whole point of the corkscrew motion is I'm switching my hips as I'm cinching the triangle nice and tight, and I can have an angle by adjusting and pulling here, and I have a nice strong finish for the triangle, okay? So I'm away from my training partner in the seated position. I tried to go for the sumo gaishi, but maybe this isn't working at the time, so I'm making a cross grip on the sleeve, and I'm reaching right here for the 2-on-1. Now this grip itself poses a lot of threat because obviously you guys have arm drags from this position. You can start making them post their hand on the ground. So from here, as he disengages, he might be putting himself in an even more dangerous position. So all I'm doing is stepping on the same side. I'm grabbing his tricep. I'm making a space for me to bring my secondary foot on his shoulder initially. Now I'm just gonna start sitting down, bringing him towards me, climbing my legs over, shooting up the triangle. If I try to lock the triangle, and I can still see his shoulder, it might be really difficult, even if I start stepping and creating an angle, okay? So I wanna make sure that I bring my knee to my chest, cover his shoulder, and then I start to lift my hips as I corkscrew this motion here and lock really tight. Now from here, because I had this 2-on-1, I already passed it across, I can start to adjust, and I have a nice strong triangle finish, okay? So let's try this with a 2-on-1 grip, and I'm just climbing up for a triangle, okay? Let's try 1, 2, 3. Okay, so same exact position that I have with my training partner on 2 knees. I immediately collect this grip right here, okay? So now what I'm gonna do is, instead of climbing for an upper body submission, what I'm gonna do is the same exact motion like I did for the butterfly sweep, but rather than going to a side, I'm gonna go right underneath him. So my foot's on his hip for a couple of reasons. Making sure that he's not controlling the distance. If my foot, they're both on the ground for too long, I'm no longer managing the distance, I'm only managing the distance with my hands. So if I add my foot into the mix, it's hard for him to come in, and I'm using my hands to prevent him from going away, okay? So now, as I take my foot off his hip, it won't be for too long. They're gonna turn into butterfly hooks. Now I'm gonna scoop myself underneath him as I elevate him. So as I elevate him, there's a moment in time at the top of the elevation where I'm gonna throw everything to the side and just extend my legs, okay? So I'm gonna go underneath him, elevate, and then I'm gonna extend my arm like an arm drag as I extend only my right foot. So that'll look something like this. I get underneath, I lift, and I throw. And now from here I have beautiful exposure and already a perfect seatbelt, okay? So what does that look like by myself? I have the grip, 2-on-1. Obviously, this is an arm drag grip. So I wanna bring him towards where I can see his back. So as I bring him on top and elevate him, I'm only gonna throw one side. So this is exactly what it looks like. That way my second foot can just come over and put it in like a traditional back take, okay? So instead of doing an upper body submission, I'm gonna go right underneath him and go straight to his back. So I have to make sure that I transition my foot from his hip to 2 butterfly hooks. And as I lift him up, I'm gonna extend everything this way and only extend my right butterfly hook, okay? So I'm going underneath, I'm elevating, and I extend. Now from here, this hand's gonna still hold this sleeve to prevent him from turning into me. Now, I can start connecting to my seatbelt and just throwing in my second hook and collecting my 4 points, okay? So one more time in full motion. My training partner's in front of me. He's doing a good job hand fighting, and I'm not able to do the sumagaeshi sweep. So I start disengaging, passing him off this sleeve grip. Maybe I want to do an upper body attack, but he's using his hand on I can't go to the triangle. So I just dive it in the middle of his legs, scoot underneath, elevate, extend. Connect to a seatbelt, and I'm already holding this to prevent him from getting up on an elbow and facing towards me, okay? Let's try this little back take here for a quick, yes. My right leg?
You're creating pressure with that?
Exactly, yes, yeah. So it's a really active hook. So I'm connecting, bringing him, as soon as he's elevated, I'm throwing here. I'm throwing, and now he's on his side. This is already hook 1. Now all I have to do is just connect my seatbelt grip and throw my second hook in. Okay? Let's try, guys. 1, 2, 3.